It is also customary in this nation that anytime we invoke the presence of our Lord the Creator, we also invoke the presence of our forefathers by reciting the national anthem of the Gambia. Therefore, I will also crave your indulgence for the second time to stand up. Let's recite the national anthem together. Thank you very much. After the count of 2, 1, 2, for the Gambia, our home, we strive and work and pray that all may live in unity, freedom and peace declare. Let justice guide our action towards a common good, and join our diverse people to prove man's brotherhood. We pledge our firm allegiance, our promise we renew. Keep us great God of nations, to the Gambia in our truth. Thank you very much. You may resume your seats. Assume your seats, please. Well, ladies and gentlemen, informally, as your host for the day, I would love to welcome all of you to this great occasion. It is a historic day in a historic institution. Therefore, it couldn't have come at a better time, where a lady of this country, a lady of substance, can take up the mantle to work very hard and produce such a remarkable book. When I was called to be the host today, what came to my mind was, when has a foolish lady got the audacity to write a book without the permission of the Jallows? History has changed, right? But anyway, in the meantime, Raki, we are very much proud of you. Very much proud for what you have done. This individual wrote 2 books. One is a play. The title of the books are Because I Am a Woman and A Bright Light Switched Off. This young lady is no other than Raki Jallow. If you look at his bio, her bio rather, to write about this rising beacon of substance in this limited space means curtailing her skills and inspirations she had exerted into society despite being very young. Raki Jallow is a humble Gambian who did her entire educational career in her own country. She rose from the different schools and had her hardly fought educational qualification. Born and raised in a family parented by 2 teachers, Raki had a strong passion for teaching and became one. To better her qualification, she opted to go to the only teacher training college to pursue her higher teacher certificate. Coupled with her teaching experience, she also sought her first degree at the University of the Gambia and is now a BA holder majoring English language and minor in public administration. Currently, for better delivery of service, she now works with the Performance Monitoring Evaluation Directorate, a cohort of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. I also come to know that she's a mother of 3. That makes me think twice. How did he have the courage? How was he able to do all that when I, as an individual, could not muster the courage to do that? Raki, I am inspired today. Not 1, but 2. We are so very much proud of you. To move on, we now move to speeches. This is to be done by no other person than the chief launcher. This person is Auntie Tida Jata Jaju. She works at the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. I now understand why women dominated this place. Madam Jata, you are highly welcome.
Thank you.
The next person on the high table is no other than somebody that I look up to since I was going to the college. I was young then, but when he comes to my class, I tell my people, I wish I can be like him. He is no other person than Mr. Lamin Jaju. Okay. The other person, at the far corner, a grandfather and a father to most. Very jovial individual. Somebody that I knew when I started going to the college because we treated one of his books in our classes. He works at the Ministry of Education. He is no other person than ever-present Mr. Michael Hamadi Seka. With your indulgence, I would also love to recognize the presence of our guest speaker. She is no other person than Raki Jallow. We also have a dignitary. He may be late to come, but he is a household name in this country who has toiled a lot for this nation and also had gone through in order to make sure this nation survives the turmoil that it has been through. He is no individual than Mr. Sidinjai. I'm sure he'll be here with us in a moment. I hope I have not left anybody out. I have? Oh, you're right. Madam, I hope I won't go to jail for this. Thank you very much. Madam, you are highly welcome. You are very highly welcome. Thank you. She has a name, you're right. Ramatulai Odman. Thank you very much. And please, I hope the feminists would understand as well, right? Ma'am, I'm sorry. All right, we move on. We won't wait. The next first thing on the itinerary is a speech by the chief launcher. She is expected to deliver a statement. And she is no other person than Auntie Tira Jata Jaju. She is the chief launcher of this ceremony. She works at the she is Directress of Education at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. I have the singular honor, with your indulgence, to welcome Madam to deliver her statement.
Thank you.
Yes, if you won't mind.
Oh
my God.
I have a big picture. Want me to hold it? Thank you. Is it okay? But I'm not on. The speaker is on. Is it on? Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Auntie-Patient. I saw you when I sat over there. I didn't saw you when I was coming in. Sister Jara, good morning. Good evening. How are you? Yes. Good evening to everybody. I'm happy for us to be having tables like these so that, high tables like these so that you will have women and men on the table, not tables that are filled with men. I was telling my colleagues yesterday was the final day of our education policy review, the national conference, and I was happy. I was telling the DPS that I think this should be the cover, the table should be the cover of our policy. Please support me on that. Yeah. It's important because it's important to help women. It's important to help girls. They form more than half of our population. And in any household or a compound where you have empowered women, all the children in that household will thrive. And they will even surpass their parents or their guardians that they are living with. So women are important in our lives. I'm not saying men are not. Men are. But we are the mothers. We take care of our children. And it's important that we are seen in front so that our children will serve as role models for our children. Raki, thank you. Raki is a lady that I'm working with at the office, that is at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Before I start my statement, I would just like to say a bit about Raki. Raki is a very, very disciplined lady. She knows her task. She's in an office that is busy throughout the year, but she's always up to task. And she was not there not long ago. She came, I think, less than a year ago or so. But Raki is now even part of us. Very respectful, very, very industrious. And we are happy to see women like her and Rachel and Fatima in an office that have lots of calculations. I think they know what I mean. Monitoring and evaluation, performance management, and also assessment. So, Raki, this is not a surprise. And I know more books will come. And congratulations. Good evening, everybody. All protocols respectfully observed. I had a conversation with Raki. She sent me a text and told me that I wanted your CV. And I told her the CV is not important. Let's come and prove ourselves. I think that's better. I may have all the allocates from every university in the world. If I don't prove myself, then that's nothing. So I think it's important for us to interact. That's more important so that we'll be closer to each other. Because the small I know there are certain people that know far better than the small that I do know. So I think everybody should be respected. So I told her, that's why I told her, no. Just announce my name and then we'll move from there. All protocols respectfully observed. It is with delight and gratitude, Raki, to stand before you today as the chief launcher of the two wonderful books by Raki Jallow, a colleague at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. When she brought the books to my office, the bright light switched off, and because I'm a woman, she was with her colleague, Mr. Andrew Gomez. And when I was going through the books, I was answering to every topic to him because he was the man sitting there. And he turned to Raki and said, you see, I told you, I'll receive all the bombardments from her. But you know, these are issues that we go through. These are issues that we go through every day. And what I normally tell my colleagues is, yes, we normally accuse men, but we women too are the cause of our own problems. Because we are the njekes, we are the widgets, we are the side chicks, and we encourage men to do whatever we want to do to us. You understand? If I as a woman will say, I will not go out with any married man, or I will not marry any married man, then some of our problems will be reduced. It will be solved. So, the bright light stood off. When I went through it, I think it chronicled Maimuna. What we normally talk about at the level of the Minister of Education is to make sure that girls go to school, stay in school, finish school with wonderful results. And this one is about child marriage. She got married at the age of 15, Maimuna. And when she was at home, she went through a lot. And going through the book, I realized that poverty, male-dominant society, power of our in-laws, especially our mother-in-laws, the married woman as the second class in the home, are what women and girls go through in our homes, in our communities, and Gambia as a whole. However, there comes the power of the teacher, Ms. Cisse, who intervened at the right time and helped her through. I think it's important for us to know that the dangers associated with child marriage, such as early pregnancy, STIs, due to, early birth, we all know the repercussions of a young child giving birth, the STI, the obstetric fistula, are some of the consequences of early marriage. But not only that, it also results in poverty. Us having many children, we all know the literature. When a girl goes to school, stay in school, finish school, it delays the marriage, it delays the childbirth, you understand? And in a compound where you have an educated woman, the health outcomes are good, the economic outcomes are good, and the education outcomes of the children that, came out of that marriage too are good. So, if a child is given away from marriage early, especially with the likes of Maimuna, the low education levels will come in. The low health outcomes too will come in. And that is a vicious cycle. You give birth. The children are sick. You don't have money to take them to the hospital. The husband in the house will be maltreating you. Or he may even decide, because you have so many problems, to go and marry another wife. You know how men are. They just see themselves and nobody else. Sorry for the adversity, yeah. Notwithstanding, Miss Caesar helped her through, and that bright light that went off came up. This is something that most of these us girls need to read, the young girls need to read and understand, because it's helped them with their life skills. It will help them cope with situations. And the other book, very interesting series of stories that talk about, that say that because I'm a woman, it talked about marriages, divorce, unfaithfulness of men, envy among us women. Sometimes it happens. I will see Rachel, and I'll be very envious of Rachel, because Rachel is a step ahead of me. That happens a lot. The issue of childlessness. Sometimes I will get married, I will not be able to get a child, and all the time they will say, it's me as the woman, it's me as the woman. And sometimes, sometimes it may not even be the woman. It may be the man. The issues of prostitution. And I was telling my colleague, yes, there is prostitution, but I think it's important for us to know that. And the issue of FGM, female genital mutilation, culture shock when we travel outside the country. It also happens. Bullying, we bully, especially cyberbullying. And I think in the internet sometimes I look at, I listen to some people who will tell you, you're telling your fellow human being to go and commit suicide. Those are the things. And it happens to us as women most of the time. I'm not saying it's not happening to men, but even women to their fellow women. It's the issue of menstruation. We've been talking about menstruation and menstrual hygiene among us, and the issue of the dropout rate. How do we help children to come back to school and finish? All these things are in the book. And it could be seen that all the above factors, there are factors that affect the education of the girl child. There are factors that affect women in society. And what I am happy about was that in every story, Raki came out with a solution, and those are life skills. How do you deal with these situations? I read the book from corner to corner. In every story, there are solutions. That's why I said, those from me, we don't have anybody from curriculum department at the ministry, curriculum directorate. I think these are, he's retired. These are one of the books that should be literature books for our schools. Because in addition to them doing the literature, it will also help them in their life, get life skills, negotiation skills, being assertive, saying no and mean it, mediation skills. You understand? All those things are in the book. But I think as women, it's important for us to support each other. If I see a fellow man or a colleague doing better, let's hug, let's appreciate. You understand? Yes, we make one or two mistakes. We are human. But it's important for us to appreciate each other. It's important for us to support each other. That's very important. Let's encourage each other. Let's encourage each other. We have, I have friends that are in the diaspora. They come back, they do good. Give them a call. Send them a text. Even if not, sometimes it's difficult to call, but this text is very important. You are doing good. Keep it up. I think that's very important. We in the government offices too should help our fellow women, encourage our fellow women. If our fellow women or our girls too do encounter issues, let's counsel each other. It's very important. And that confidentiality, because it's important. If somebody comes to you and talk to you, please don't go to your friend and say, she didn't tell you to go and calculate it. No. She told you, she came to you for help. Let's protect each other. And in the end, let's pray for each other. Let's pray for each other. That's very important. So, for our young ones, these are the ones being the leaders. I was happy when I see, I regretted not bringing mine here. Because, I was happy when I see these beautiful children around. They are going to be the adults tomorrow. So, it's important for them to be in these kinds of gathering. Women and girls, I appeal, women and girls should be given more attention and support so that at the end of the day, Gambia will be an equitable society. I'm not talking about equality here. An equitable society for all to strive. Because if the ground is level for everyone, you can see the magic that will come out of us. I urge everyone, especially women and girls, as I said earlier on, to read these two important books because they will help in improving your life skills and cope with every situation you may encounter with, especially situation of sex and gender-based violence. That's everywhere. And reading the book will help you cope with a lot of situations. I thank you all, but before I move, thank you for the clap. I have the singular honor to launch, can I do it now? These two important books by Raki Jallow. Congratulations, Raki. And I also urge everyone before you leave today to buy at least 2 sets. I'm not saying 2 books, 2 sets to support Raki. If you can buy more, we will appreciate it. Yeah, we'll appreciate it. I'm going to buy more than 2, Raki, but I'm not going to tell you how much. Yeah, I'm going to buy more than 2. So 2 sets I'm talking about, not 2 alone. So please, that is an appeal to everyone, and I hope we will do it. So Raki, congratulations, and I wish you the very best, and I hope that other books too will follow. And please invite me to go and launch them. Thank you.
Wonderful viewers, this is Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint. We are witnessing the book launch of Madam Raki Jallow.
Thank you very much, Madam Jatanjai. Sorry, Madam Jata Jaju. Sorry.
Because I'm a woman and
you couldn't have said more.
Switch off.
And what you've said here encompasses everything. As you were speaking, a thought ran in my mind. I asked myself, if we are in 2023, would this have happened if we were in 1923? It wouldn't have happened. But now women have realized their potentials. They have understood that the room has been provided for them. And now they are taking huge advantage of that. Take advantage of that. Men are not your competitors, but we are here for each other. And you have spoken very well that in order for our society to progress, we must help each other and see each other not only as equals, but as also partners in development. You've raised very salient points that we need to support our women and girls. The importance of a woman in the society cannot be overemphasized. You said, again, we need to rise from the negative perspective that we have regarding women. These are things that have been happening, and these are things that are still happening. But I believe with this book that you said, and I must have to repeat, that these are most read books, because these create awareness to the young girls as to what are your roles and responsibilities to make sure you also contribute your quota to national development. On that note, madam, I thank you very much for your words of wisdom. We'll have a short interlude. This is no other person, it's a poem to be recited by no other person than Mr. Boy. Lento Boy, I hope you're around. You are highly welcome. It's your stage now. Anyway, before you come, a quick disclaimer, a reminder, we have balloons here. So my fuller people, anytime it's boss, it's not a bomb, right?
That's right. Yeah. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello, good evening. I hope I'm audible. A few days ago when I posted the flyer about the book launch, there's somebody that called me and said, is this woman related to your mom? I asked why. And then I said, well, because I am pretty sure all of us are proud to have a mother like Raki. So, you are not my sister today. I'm moving from sisterhood now to motherhood. So you are my mom. Proud. So, thank you so much. I've seen here people that are so inspirational, people that I've been looking up to. And I have a lot of mates from university that are here too. So, actually, I have 2 points that I want to recite, but they are very short. Don't fret, right? It's just about, in 5 minutes, I will recite 2. Because 2 books are going to be launched, right? And each of these pieces has a direct connection to the book. The first one, the title of the poem is Because I Am a Woman. So I want you to listen. It goes like this. Right? It goes, in the desperation of your soul, I remain your only goal. In the forest of your darkness, I be the tree that regenerate your brightness. In the scripts of your movies, I be the actress, the protagonist to your strength and the antagonist to your weakness. So stop the disrespects and the hate speeches, the discriminations and the bewitches. Turn off the marginalization switches. Recite the anthems of empowerment speeches. Decolonize the unfair foundation of my hitches and glitches. Accolade me respect and dignity, for I am your greatest. Don't break me, for I am your only hope. Don't save me, for that doesn't look dope. Embrace me, for I am the globe. Sing me songs of love, let it penetrate my earlobe. I am the woman. In my presence, man can be a master. But in my absence, man is nothing but a disaster. I am the woman, the rumen of joy, the reticulum of dignity, the omasum of pride and the abomasum of faith. I am the compartments and the chambers that stomach your life. Show me more love and stop the blame game. Embrace me and see the flame. I am the best in the game. Don't compare me, for that's your shame. I am the woman. I am not a tool to be used as a fool. Change the narratives and get back to the golden rule. Power, hope, belief, conquer. These are the fibers and the walls woven in me. For I am the woman. And the other one is in Wolof, and I've seen the title of the book, A Bright Light Switch Off, right? Most of the time when a bright light is switched off is maybe there are bonds that are broken, maybe there are pains that are meted on somebody that is so innocent, right? So I just want to talk about this, and it goes like this. Ma don karit ak mbokk bu deggu sen job. Benno ak xol bu rafet don suma bébé. Jël pour so ñaw suñu xol yi fexé bu lan set jigi. Def la soppé. Sa mbekté don suma tapé. Ma si dox si yaatu ak tabe. Waye aduna dox ay jégom soppeku. Dugub don cox njëriñam yaq. Ngir man di yox jëf ju baax toro. Mbettel judd. War namp. Mbañel fer nga dëkk di naajal suma ker. Def suma leer sa lendem di ma tour lendem si ay at bes ak weer. Ma jàppee woon la xarit nga tuur ma mbalit tàggale ko ak man jël yoonu diingat di béy tolu lorange di ko meññal ngir sama toroxtande ma xëy gis xarit sol mbubbi noonu ma daw sori balaa ngoon jàppe woon suma bopp ni suma xarit ak mbokk suma xel ne ma déet juum nga ndax fii du ñëpp ñu la jox bopp soo ñàkkee fii kenn du la topp fekk yaa ngay jéem kenn du la sopp si wéetaay ngay lonku di si xëy ak ki gontu I don't know who to trust anymore because the closest are normal. I feel like a soul engulfed by crude looks and brutal hooks sapping to book me in the diary of the doom. So I choose a conversation with my soul alone. Ndax jikko dafa njublan. Evil and hatred supplants the plain positive plants planted. And we are beautifully crafted dreams and adventures taking us back to a decadent culture. We are like vultures, chopping and rupturing each other's futures. That's why bonds broken, belief shaken, love darkened, friendship goals and dreams lost its token, and trust has been booked in the flight of no return. Thank you all.
Well, no wonder you are called mentor boy. You've spoken well. And we have digested it all. We can't be more prouder. Continue raising the awareness in the society. Through your poetry, I've learned a lot. And I've also listened to a lot of your poems. And please, from the bottom of my heart, continue the good work. We are proud of you. Thank you very much. Next on the itinerary is a speech. A speech to be delivered by no individual than someone that I admired so much. Someone that usually, when I sit with my friends, we talk about him because he has been light to us too. He is no other person than Mr. Madam Jallow. Madam Jallow is a senior program officer and the national coordinator of the UNESCO Associated School Projects Network at the Gambia National Commission for UNESCO. He serves as a desk officer for culture with a teaching certificate from the Gambia College. Mr. Jallow taught at Brikama Upper Basic School before becoming a graduate teacher at Bottrop and after getting a degree in English and Development Studies. Lamin would go on to become a teacher trainer at the Gambia College before joining the NATCOM over a decade now. He is both UNESCO Republic of Korea and UNESCO People's Republic of China fellow who he undertook training in education for international understanding EIU and communication studies respectively at Asia Public Center of Education for International Understanding and Haozang University, I hope I pronounced it right. Haozang University of Science and Technology. He is currently pursuing a master's degree in educational administration and management. Lamin has supervised and coordinated the implementation of many cultural projects since his engagement at the National Commission for a little over half a decade now. Some of the projects mainly participation program based will include culture kits, motion picture art certificate, formulation of the national culture policy of the Gambia, entrepreneurship training in support of culture and creative industry development in the Gambia, setting up a small creative business for women and youth, and many others. At the community level, Lamin is an active community member. He emerges in coordinating at both the village and district levels. As a culture and sports enthusiast, he is among the organizers of the annual Katong International Festival and the Walk for Health routine exercise of the Katong chapter. His health mantra is, all healthy habits starts with regular exercise. You see why I said I look up to him? Mr. Jallow, the stage is yours. And I would love how you inspired me to speak to them and inspire the people too. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I have to use the mic. Yeah. Huh? Sorry. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to my mom on the high table, Auntie Tida Jaju. Good evening, Rachel, whom I have had the pleasure of working with over several initiatives at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Auntie Ramatullah Othman is an auntie of everybody and is also an author, for those of you who might not know. Auntie Ramatullah Othman has authored several books, and is also a beacon of hope and also a repository of culture as far as the Aku culture is concerned in the Gambia here. For Mike, I used to call him Uncle Mike because I have heard several people call him Uncle Mike, but I have worked with him on several curriculum initiatives in the country. And Michael, like many people have said before, actually is a household name. Michael Hamadi Seka can be remembered for authoring many books, and also very active on Facebook because he does, I think, a weekly posting of poetry and also short stories, and is very active as far as the Base culture is concerned. Uncle Mike, keep it up. And I've seen that he wrote the preface of the 2 books. So in the house, I cannot start my speech without paying homage to the teachers in the room. Welcome, sir. Honorable. Fine. Alaikum salam. I would like to, my speech, I would like to observe the presence of the Deputy Speaker of the National Parliament in our midst. Honorable Sidinjai is here. Welcome, sir. Like I was saying, I have to pay homage to the teachers. Obviously, wherever I speak, I really like to observe that. There is a Malaysian saying, which I like quoting all the time, that the teacher takes the hand, opens the heart, and touches the mind. How many minds have been minted by teachers in this country? If our country is moving forward, it all started with teachers. It's the wisdom of our parents to put us in school, but it takes the teachers to mold our mind to become who we are. So respect to all the teachers. Auntie Patience Sanko Gara, Sister Jara, and Patience Sanko Godwin, we pay our respect to you. And we have the CEO of the teachers here, SSO is here. Yes. Of course, they are managing the teachers for us. And we know there are sometimes turbulent times, but they manage to weather the storm all the time. Thank you for being with us here. Now, as I speak here today, I speak as a fulfilled individual, fulfilled teacher, because Raki is so dear to my heart for 2 things. You will see it in my speech. But all protocols duly observed. Let me start my speech formally. I want to start this statement by saying that the author for whose book launching we are gathered here for is not only my student back then at the college. Raki is a sister. I have shared the same class with her brother Ibu. Ibu was intelligent at school and was very analytical. Their mom, who is seated here today, I have had the pleasure of meeting on several occasions as a teacher. She is a very forthgoing and never giving up woman. She had studied late up to her retirement. Such was the inspiration of a mom. If she would not give up on going to school, why would her kids? And why should they not travel the academic lane? For the past 4 days, we were engaged with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education in the mid-term review of the Education Policy 2016-2030. And one of the presenters who did a technical paper on access and equity was our former Minister of Education, Honorable Anne Therese Ndong-Jatta. She said that a leader should have 2 sets of 3 qualities, among others. In other words, these were 3 A's and 3 B's. The 3 A's were alertness, anticipation, and analytical power. And the 3 B's were bravery, boldness, and brains. I haven't read the works of Raki yet, but having gone through the prefaces, I can tell that she doesn't lack in any of these 3 qualities. And she is a leader not only because she is a teacher and mother, but simply because of her authorship. She has implanted herself in the literary space of this country, and by extension, Africa and the world at large as a leader. Raki, keep it up. Now I want to be a little academic and say that writers have a primary function to their constituents. I am going to quote Sekou Kamara, another Gambian author, who also cited the renowned African novelist Chinua Achebe in his essay, The Novelist as a Teacher. This was written in 1965. The African writer cannot be excused from the task of re-education and regeneration that must be done. Achebe outlined the functions of the writer as a historian rescuing its past, a critic analyzing its present, and as a mentor helping to guide its towards the future. Sekou would continue to say, it therefore becomes a moral responsibility and even a duty for the African writer to be accountable to his or her society. I want to say that through her writings, Raki embarks on this Herculean task, but a worthy one for that matter, to re-educate us, the Gambian society, about our own society. You know why? Because she writes literature, and the primary function of literature is to make the familiar unfamiliar. I want to stop a little at this point and read an excerpt from this book called The Song of Lawino and Song of Ochol by Okot Bitek. Okot Bitek was a Ugandan writer, and the Song of Lawino and the Song of Ochol, this book is like a conversation between a husband and a wife. The Song of Lawino, the excerpt is from the Song of Lawino. And he says, actually, adornments are old-fashioned and unhealthy. He says, I soil his white shirt. If I touch him, my husband treats me as if I am suffering from the don't touch me disease. He says that I make his bed sheets dirty and his bed smelly. Ochol says, I look extremely ugly when I am fully adorned for the dance. When I walk past my husband, he hisses like a wounded Ororo snake. Choking with vengeance, he has vowed that he will never touch my hands again. My husband, is it love with Tina, the woman with the large head? Ochol dies for Clementine. Ochol never sleeps for the beautiful one who has red. When the beautiful one with whom I share my husband returns from cooking her hair, she resembles a chicken that has fallen into a pond. Her hair looks like the python's discarded skin. they cook their hair with hot iron and pull it hard so that it may grow long. Then they rope the hair on wooden pens like a billy goat brought for the sacrifice, struggling to free itself. Now, if you listen to this excerpt, you would see that there is a struggle of a traditional woman with a man who has taken to the urban life and taken to the Western ways and has discarded the traditional woman because he's aspiring to become a Westerner and have taken the literate wife or the educated wife as the best, forgetting that maybe he has struggled with the traditional wife back home in the village then. So this is what literature does. It makes the familiar unfamiliar. And I have seen that going through the preface of Raki's books. Literature educates. It makes it a poignant and drives the point home. Literature educates or re-educates us. What writers write is always with us or has always been with us. Raki, I stand here as a fulfilled teacher and say that you have shown me and many through whose hands you have passed through that we did not labor in vain. I will not end this statement without also making reference to Dr. Lenry Leopold Wilfred Peters, father of Gambian literature. What he had asked was very simple. It is time that political leaders recognize the full value and functions of writers and artists within their communities if we are to produce if we are not to produce sterile societies, faceless societies from which the well-famed joy of life of the black race has been crushed, even eliminated. Doers and thinkers must work together to fashion a healthy, integrated, impregnated mess of social conscience. Peters would end. It shows that politicians and artists must work together. And when we say artists here, they are the thinkers. The doers are the politicians. They must come together to make sure that we have a country that is functioning. The thinkers are the artists, and their ideas matter to make sure that our communities work. So with this, I rest my case and congratulate you, Raki. Thank you. Oh my God, sorry. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jaju. Now you understand why I said at the beginning, I won't apologize because I believe you understand the wait worth it, isn't it? I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot. Mr. Jaju, we are very much grateful that you graced the occasion with us. And what you said here to me is a lesson that everyone would take home today. You've quoted writers, you've quoted people, and you've encouraged the society to work together, especially the politicians and the artists as well. We cannot be more grateful. And now to you, the crowd, I hope you understand now why I say he inspires me so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Jaju. Well, before moving further, I would love to recognize the presence of the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. Sidinjai. You are welcome to my house as your host today. You're welcome. We've reached the climax of the ceremony, and in this, I would love to invite the individual who was tasked with the mammoth job of reviewing the book. I said it earlier, he's a grandfather and he's a father to some of us. You don't go to when he was at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Special Education Directorate Region 1, you don't visit there and speak to him without laughing, because he's such a humorous individual. He's no other person than Mr. Michael Hamadi Seka, a prominent Gambian writer, who I believe is part of the individual who has inspired Raki to get into this task. He formerly worked with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. He has been a teacher and principal of various schools in the country. Michael has written more than 10 books and read both nationally and internationally. He is a researcher and does supervises students writing both their master's and PhD thesis. He attended Amitex Senior Secondary School, the Gambia College, and the University of the Gambia to pursue a certificate in management specifically designed for headmasters. Michael has worked with the Gambia College, GTTI, and QIT as an English language lecturer on part-time basis. He has also worked and coordinated the Department of Languages at the Curriculum, Research, Evaluation and Development Directorate until on the 12th December 2023 when he retired from active service. That was last week, right? Well, before you come here, Michael, as your host today, I will tell you this nation would never forget you. I didn't know you in person when I was going to the college, but because Mr. Jaju and others introduced your book to us, I fell in love with one of the books called The Sock. Very interesting. But we are very much pleased that you have inspired a generation, that Raki is part of those individuals who has taken the mantle of leadership and who has also taken the baton from you to continue the good job that you have started. We can't be more elated, and we are very much proud of you. On that note, I single-handedly and honorably welcome you to the stage. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Yeah, different. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good evening, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. C.D.K. Njai, and my own sister, Director Tida Jata, Mr. Jaju, a brother and a friend, my other friend Richel, and of course my colleague Ramatulai Oldman. And of course I'll be very unfair if I also fail to recognize the presence of Godwin Sonko, the early writers, who have at least led the younger writers, and of course Mr. So, who definitely adequately represent teachers in all forums, and definitely he's somebody who respects teachers. And of course my brother, whom we were together in Jayamure. But here, I respect the protocol. I will not let the cat out of the bag. And then I will also want to recognize and uphold Mrs. Jallow, Raki's mother. I think today, all the attributes Raki has is from her. Somebody who stooped down and gave birth to Raki definitely deserves all the accolades made mention to Raki. So today, Raki's father in the graveyard will be very happy. He will say the mother did not betray him, but took responsibility of the children until Raki is able to produce such. But I don't know where to start. But I may be consoled by Cecil Prince, the poet, who said, "So be it, creator of mine, whose skillful hands and thoughts divine did mold me into a frame without a blame, and give me this fleeting flame. in this path of strife and hatred, buttressed by irony and faith, grant me to live mankind and all untaught puppies within. May I learn to serve the poor. May I live to serve the weak and the meek, so that when death wins, I shall not miss the eternal pathway to bliss. Raki has snatched that point, and she is working towards helping the poor and the weak and the meek. But if you look at the cover, look at this eye. This eye will never sleep. This eye will never blink. This eye will never wink. If you have read Macbeth, when Macbeth murdered Duncan, in his long soliloquy, he said, sleep shall no more, for the king of Kodo has murdered sleep. So that is this is the very eye whose sincerity has been betrayed. It no longer knows joy. It can no longer sleep with all its struggle, with all its hardship. If you look at this eye too, this is the eye that Nelson Mandela spoke of in Long Walk to Freedom, when he said, be resonant with death. If the results of death are sweeter than life, be resonant with death. Why should we live when it's better to die? That was the last time he was caught. And he said he's not going to put on socks, because socks are for boys and Africans are not boys. So when Colonel came and found his food on the table, he said, this man is after something. We must do something about it. So they said, now you are not going to put on socks, you are going to put on long trousers, but we are going to take you to confinement. And that was the worst frustration he ever had. That was the time he started a conversation with a cockroach. He had no one to speak to. And he told them, well, I prefer to die. If you look at the title of the book, because I am a woman, Raki is very careful. If she had put that just because I am a woman, she would have belittled the woman. Yeah. Yes, she would have reduced the woman to nothing but mere objects. That's why Raki deliberately did not put that just because I am a woman. Now, because I am a woman too, reminds me about George Orwell. George Orwell says, literary expression, whether spoken or written, performs three functions. And what are they? They preserve thought, they conceive thought, and they prevent thought. What do you make of this heading? Because I am a woman. What do you make of it? Here, you may be, your sense of thought may be detached from you. You may not think. You may end because I am a woman, yes. What next? I am maltreated. I am abused. I am denied of all that I should do. For this book, A Bright Light Switch Off, I advise Raki to do what Semen Usman did. Remember the stories that these books are meant for. They are in what we call linguistic exile. That was demonstrated in Things Fall Apart. When the district commissioner came and saw the dangling body of Okonko, he asked them, why are you not cutting the rope now and bury this man? Obrieke asked him, keep quiet. You have sent the greatest man of Ethiopia to commit suicide. And now you are not going to bury him. We are going to throw him in the bush. And we are going to use uncircumcised boys to drag him. Because he's an abomination in this soil. You know what Kino Akebe did? He put these words in the mouth of the district commissioner. And he said, I'm going to write another book entitled The Pacification of the People of the Lower Niger. And that is no longer at peace. That shows that literature is not complete. When I saw these two books, I thought that Raki was going to complete Salimata. It's an other thrilling book that Raki wrote. It's an other book that replicates Raki's pride, that replicates Raki's eagerness to liberate the entire woman. But I saw new stories. Raki has switched over. She has switched over. It's only an experienced writer who can do that. It's only those gifted, those blessed with skills who can do that. But what I implore upon Raki is, as I told you earlier on, those in linguistic exile, how can you get them? This book, try to shoot it into a film. When Samuel Usman wrote Hala, God beasts of wood, Nyangan, and named them, but he was not getting the people the books were meant for. He resorted to what we call cinematology. That's why he started to perform cinema. And of course, the medium of expression was in the local language. We the elites, a woman like Tida is powerful, is a powerful woman. Alright? So as Paul says, who knows more oppression than the oppressed? Who knows more suffering than the sufferer? So in the pedagogy of the process, pedagogy in the process, and let us listen to Guinea-Bissau, the Brazilian author has explained how those who are oppressed, how do they feel. So those women, Raki, you try to get to, I would prefer you to try to get to them by shooting one of your books into cinemas. Here, I don't want to preempt you, but that means then I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I want you to buy these books. There is a lot of wisdom hidden in these books. Look at this chapter. From tragedy to triumph, Rita's journey of resilience and hope. These are the women of the sub-Saharan. Women have always been powerful. You look at the Amazon of Dahomey. They were soldiers who fought. You look at the women who trek long distances. Women who fetch water. Women who do all and yet are suppressed. And they never give up. So this chapter, if you read it, you will see how Raki, very young, skillfully articulated, demonstrated and remonstrated the sufferings of the women that men, you know, would never be forgiven. Look at to Angela and the cheating husband. You see, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the game that Andrew and I play when we were very young, even though we have done bad games, when we come, we just perform ablution and pray. Well, our wives will say, well, somebody who is sin would not pray. We try to camouflage the situation. So you can see now, Angela, now married is an oath taken by the husband and the wife. So sometimes, how does the man feel when the woman cheats on him? So obviously, my sister, don't be surprised. Yeah, okay, but I know men will forgive me anyway. So, all right. So you can also see a young girl, being raped. Virginity that we all respect. Her virginity ceases. And the moment somebody's virginity is ceased, how does the woman feel? She feels very low. She feels very tormented. And it's something that she will never forgive men. Ladies and gentlemen, I appeal to you to buy a copy, as Tida said. And please, those of our parents who cannot read, buy a book and read it for them. Interpret it for them. Then you have done what Raki has intended to do. Raki is very passionate. Just as the prophet has given an avowal to suffer the bitterness of death on behalf of men, Raki today has taken all the suffering that women are due to. She has taken the responsibility to liberate the woman. So support her, patronize her, and buy books. Buy as much as possible. buy and give it to the National Library, the local libraries. And I think the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education should be serious with these books. These are the types of books that they should read. Yeah. You see? Because remember, literature, it springs up from the society, what radiates in the society. That's why it is said that there is no amount of literature that is as authentic as the social reality it tries to eptomatize, that has emanated from a social reality or a natural phenomena. So what you should read about should be about your society. I was very pleased when Dr. Gomez said, we are going to use our own. Even though it's erratic, we are going to use our own that we have produced by our own. So please, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, patronize Raki. Each school in the Gambia should have a copy of this book. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many speakers, and we don't have much time. I thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry. I hope the Julama will not say something. No, I won't say that. All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seka. I can also say all right. I can also say you are a very skillful speaker. You have maneuvered your way and successfully not let the cat out of the bag. I hope you have been paying attention to what he was saying. He maneuvered and did not tell us what is really in the book. Well, what he did was, he was encouraging us to read. He was encouraging us to buy the book. And I believe if everyone has a copy, we will encourage Raki to write more, and we will also encourage ourselves and the people around us to be also writing, because when people see Gambian writers, they are always inspired. Mr. Seka, you are an ozone, I would say. You are an encyclopedia of knowledge. I could say that anywhere. This is not the first time I had interactions with you. But anytime you finish talking, or anytime you start talking, it's like I need to take a pen and start writing. Thank you so very much for inspiring us. The young are looking up to you. And I can tell you from today, from what you have done throughout your life, you have not failed us. And we are very much pleased. One sentence that he said that I will get is that the ministry should be serious and buy books. I am a teacher, and I teach literature too. But I also understand that even our kids in our school struggle to pronounce the names that are found in these Nigerian books. My fellow teachers can bear me witness. The ministry needs to do something about this. Anything that is in their book depicts what happens in their societies. What we have depicts what happened in our society. And these are the things that we must teach our own children. Mr. Saw is here, a renowned individual. And people from the Ministry of Education are also here. And Mr. Seka, they have heard you. And I could also say that you have failed in your job too. You could have included it. But thank you very much. In the meantime, we will have another speaker. She is our guest speaker of the day. She is no other person than Raki Jallow. Rachel is a senior education officer with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. She holds a degree in MSc Statistics Modeling from the University of Gaston Berger, Senegal. I hope I pronounced that right. All right, thank you very much. She has a vast and beautiful working experience in the Gambia in the field of education and youth migration. She has underwent series of professional training, workshops and seminars on monitoring and evaluation, student assessment, supervision of quality education, analysis of official statistics, public speaking, and the list continues. Just to name but a few. When you look at our high table, these are very much renowned individuals in the Gambia who have contributed their quota to the development of this country, whether it is in the fields of education or other fields that are dear to national development. Be that as it may, I will honorably welcome Madam Raki Jallow to deliver her speech.
Protocol.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Directors, Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, all protocols duly observed, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to each one of you. It is a great pleasure and pride to speak on this auspicious and epoch-making occasion of the launching of 2 books entitled Because I Am a Woman and The Lights Turn Off, written by Mrs. Raki Jallow, a Gambian woman. She is no stranger to many of us, as she has already written, from the previous speakers, a book entitled Salimata, which was launched in 2021, thereby adding her name to the list of Gambian authors that have produced literary works that enrich the mind and thinking of the young in our society. Raki is well known. She is known by many, the young, the old, great people, influential people. So for her to choose me to be one of her guest speakers is a honor and a privilege that I did not take lightly. Raki, I want to use this opportunity to thank you for this golden opportunity that you have accorded me. Ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you that Mrs. Raki Jallow, from previous speakers, has said it, and I will still repeat it, is a down-to-earth individual who places more importance on making acquaintances than gathering monetary wealth or fame. 4 months ago, when I showed up on my first day at work after 6 months leave, I would have to look at you, Director. Raki was among the first people that welcomed me with open hands. Despite meeting her for the first time, she quickly initiated a conversation that made me felt and realize that our characters are compatible and that we would have a cordial working relationship. A relationship that can be promoted to genuine sisterhood, because I see it in her. People that are here today might not know Raki very much. Who then is Raki? And what has inspired her to write these 2 thought-provoking books, I Am a Woman and The Lights Turn On? Out of the many reasons that must have inspired Raki to write these books is her unwavering passion for Gambian women to explore their God-given potentials. Raki has compiled the obstacles the average woman, the average Gambian woman faces in our society. Having gone through the different facets of life herself, a mother, a teacher, a TV presenter, a student, a wife. She has gathered the experience that are necessary to be an advocate, to be a feminist for women. Let us not read these books and think these are fictional stories. They are not. The characters, names, and the happenings might be improbable, but I tell you undeniably, these are the everyday realities of some women. Women that we sit with in our offices, women that we call friends, these are their realities. These are their everyday ordeals. Let's note, please, because at first when I read the preface, I'm like, Raki de merena guri. So I'm advising each one of you to note that this might not be her own personal stories. They are not her stories. The launching of a book where the numerous sufferings of women is presented after the conclusion of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence held from the 25th of November to the 10th of December 2023, and the theme for this year, investing to prevent violence against women and girls, is no coincidence. It is therefore crucial to discuss issues hampering women's liberation in our society, where the culture of silence is still predominant. Sharing stories of GBV, that is gender-based violence, creating awareness of their rights, the rights of women, and empowering them will improve their lives and livelihoods. The strategies for women's development should be more robust now than ever, so that the desired results in women empowerment can be achieved. The German proverb that says, the repeated stroke will fall the oak. That is what we should be doing concerning women empowerment and women issues. There is no doubt that this country has done a lot to improve the status of women, as evidenced in the launching of these 2 books today, not only 1, but 2 books by a dynamic, hard-working woman in the passing of Raki. There are more girls and women writers around today. Please, let's not just attend launching events. Let's take time to read their books. In that way, we are supporting them. The publishing of these 2 books by a woman should stimulate and rekindle the culture of reading in this generation when social media has impacted reading. Let's remind ourselves of the benefits of reading. Reading, we know, enables people to acquire knowledge, information, skills, values, attitude necessary for personal, family, community, and national awareness and development. The absence of a reading culture does not only result in social inequalities, but also threatens national development. There is no country that can develop if its citizens lack information. Thus, a good reading culture unlocks the key to economic prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's read these books, not only to help the financial cost that the authors have invested, but also to build up on our reading culture. The benefits of reading culture cannot be overemphasized, and what better platform to discuss this is during launching events. So we have to listen to the benefits of reading because we are in a book launching event. Education statistics, usually Director alluded to it. Where we work with the statistics. We work with education statistics. Reveals that more Gambians are enrolled and are completing education at all the different levels. We can say that is not much of a challenge. However, the challenge lies in early grade reading assessment. And the 2013 report noted that although there are significant improvement in terms of all the indicators of early grade reading, there is still much to be done to enhance fluency and comprehension. The mean scores for reading correct words per minute is 11.63, and the oral fluency is 13.57. This shows that there is much to be done to raise the habit of reading. I know at this point, even if you don't say it out, you will be asking what the ministry is doing concerning this issue of reading. And since I come from the ministry, I can assure you that a whole lot is being done. The ministry is tirelessly introducing strategies to enhance reading skills. One of the many initiatives implemented is to mainstream the literacy content of all the reading strategies into English language instructional materials. I'm naming just one. The slogan, "Education is everybody's business," implies that there should be concerted efforts by everybody, all stakeholders, be it a mother, be it a teacher, be it a student. You have a stake to play. The required holistic approach by all stakeholders is what Raki is conscious of. That is why she has invested her time, she has invested her energy, coupled with the passion to write these two books, I Am a Woman and The Lights Turn Off. Her second and third publication, For a Woman, a Mother of Three, but that is what we are meant to do. We are meant to multitask. Michael has said and reviewed the book. I don't want to go into that. But for people that are not very much interested in reading, I can assure you that the books are in a simplified, standard language. In her writings, she is cognizant of our cultural diversities. She is conscious of the gender roles the men have in our society. She is conscious of that. At this point, let me not take much of your time to bore you with my speech, but I want to encourage you to not only buy the books. That won't make Raki happy. I have an experience with her. When I met her, she introduced me to the book and I bought it. But every day Raki would be Fanga M for read. I'm like, I have to take time to read because we are together in the office and she will run a discussion about the book. So don't just buy the book. No matter how much you buy, no matter how much you pledge today, she would be interested for you to read the book so that you would know the hardships that some men incur on women. At this point, I want to thank you all for the attention that you have given me.
Thank you very much, Madam Raki Jallow. You have spoken well. During the time or start of your speech, you've related to us how you met Raki and the type of individual she is. That is what makes every parent happy. Her mother is around today, and I can tell you she's the proudest mother in the world. This is what every parent wants, for the world to sing the name of your child. I know very well what makes a mother proud is not the millions that a kid or a child will give their mother, but how the people of your surroundings and your society will sing your name of how good you are. This is what makes every mother and every father proud. And mommy, we can tell you today, you've raised an individual whose name will be written in the history books of this nation. We are very much grateful. You also said that you encourage everyone to read. But it reminds me of a quote from a wise man. Michael, if you would give me the opportunity to quote from one wise man who said, if you want to hide knowledge from a black man, put it in a book, he will not read. I hope that won't happen to us. Buying the books is not only buying and putting it in your houses or shelf for it to be dusty. Read and encourage your children to read. I also know that children who see their parents read are also encouraged to read. But I know also that the problem of reading has a deeper root. But anyway, we are on the right track, I would say. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for giving us your words of wisdom. Next on the itinerary is also a short interlude. This is also going to be a poetry performance from no other person than Mohammed Drame. Mohammed, please, you are highly welcome. I hope you are not a fool.
Fano.
Oh. Don't worry, you are the same. He's a fan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. ñu ngi nuyu ñëpp ñu fi teew yëpp di nuyu yaay Raki di ko jaajëfal di ko jaaraamal di la ñaanal sa fan yàlla na gudd di la ñaanal nga am wérgu yaram tamit yàlla mun na lool yàlla na yàlla def ko ñu ngi nuyu Hamadi Michael Seka moo edit suma first book bu ñuy wax di Salum Salum amoo woon laptop dama ko yóbbul manuscript bi ne ko lii de moom yow la de ama laptop pour type moomu ko typal moomu ko edital kon Michael yal na yàlla guddal sa fan ñu ngi nuyu honorable deputy speaker honorable Sidi Ndiaye di ko jaajëfal ba pare di ko sadda tamit si ñëw bi man nag su ma wax du bëri dafa am benn poème mi fana bu ma bugg a garal fii maa ngi ko tuddee Afrique nit ku ñuul te nii lay demee benn taalif bu gàtta la fa am doom dimanche bu passé nii fa war a dem tudd ji moo tax tey duma fi yàgga Afrique nit ku ñuul yow nit ku ñuul yaay weñ gu ñuul soo fi nekkutoon kenn du doon buur yow nit ku ñuul yaay weñ gu ñuul soo fi nekkutoon kenn du doon suur Afrique yaa ñu jur wëlbatiku di ñu muur say doom dañu war a tul si ñooñu di lekk yuur ku baax si ñun ñu suul di ñu signal fekk na ñu ngi fuur fi ñuy jaaree mooy suñuy buur di leen nax ba pare di leen dóor kuur balaa ñoo yëg fekk na ñu ngi nuur di feey ak suñuy alal moo leen jox tur Afrique eewu leen mbaa jàmm ngeen fanaan leen seeni jigéen ndax ñooy suñuy teen ndox maa ngi wal taataan leen boo leen feesalee séddale leen na dërëm bi des ci yéen te ngeen bañ a dem jëggaani ci kenn jigéen teen la sàmm leen jigéen suuf la bay leen jigéen meññat la sàkk leen jigéen géej la napp leen Afrique napp leen Afrique jot na nga gar sa yére yu xar dekkilaat cosaan te bàyyi sa far dajale say gune te pare yar sa far du wax lu baax xanaa ay nar lépp lu baaxoon ci yow muy far bu leen di jàngal sax dafay bar ngir bëggul leen ñu xam lu leen war tayal loo leen ñu indoo xiif ak mar di leen xamloo tàngu motu yu dul xibaar lakkam mburu moo gën te dina jar sa far wi doy na waar ndax dina la wor dina ñëwaat ci yow mel ni ku yor te du mës a doon sa jëkkër ndax ay bor dugg na sa néeg sàcc say or mu ngi nii taxaw pare yóbbu say góor Africa mba xamme ngeen Africa mba pare ngeen Africa mba eewu ngeen Africa dellul cosaan ndax cosaan mooy luy fanaan suñuy réew nañ leen ci attan tabax ay penc di waxtaan samp ay jàngukaay defar suñ diiwaan lekk lu ñuy bay moo ñuy jox kattan bay lu ñuy lekk mooy guddal suñ fan gëm suñ bopp te bàyyi caaxaan bàyyi di fal buur yu sàggan buur yuy jëggaan ak a wayaan di toroxal seeni askan ngir ekkati seeni gan ngoo xam ne nii dafay mbaraan jàngoro lañ ko daan Senghor taalifoon na fi ay tan salaamaaleykum wa rahmatullah
Thank you very much, Mohammed Drame. Your words are well digested. You've spoken well. And we understood it very well. On that note, we will thank you for giving us your time and coming to grace this occasion. We are very much grateful. Next on the itinerary is the floor to be given to our guest speaker. The guest speaker is no other person than Ramatulai or Othman. Ramatulai is a senior citizen of this country who has worked in public service in the Gambia and Nigeria, and a writer who has authored 4 books. Her first book, The Views of an Onlooker, is a compilation of articles on social issues published by Nigerian Standard newspaper in 1993. Where was I? 1993. Her non-fictional book on the history of cultural heritage on the Oku Marabu people of the Gambia, titled A Cherished Heritage, was published in 1999 and 2012 respectively. She has also written 2 fictional materials relating to the youth, namely Costly Prices in 2005, which addressing the phenomenon of bombshelling in the Gambia. Her latest literary work, titled Risky Paths to Success, written in 2018, dwells on the impact of irregular migration on the Gambian society. Her writing career started in late 1970s while working as a social worker at the Department of Social Welfare in the Gambia, where her job entailed report writing on cases involving family issues, delinquency in youth, rehabilitation of prisoners, and providing services to the disabled, among others. Her job also offered her the opportunity to engage young people faced with different challenges caused by broken homes, destitution, and neglect, and had since then taken keen interest in issues affecting the youth. She is an ardent member of the Writers Association of the Gambia and an integral cultural heritage support facilitator, working with UNESCO National Commission and the National Center for Arts and Culture to safeguard and promote the Gambian heritage. Madam Othman, come and inspire us. You have gathered a wealth of experience. And the time and moments that are mentioned here were times that I was not even born. I wish to learn from you today.
Exactly, we'll be very close.
Why did I skip your name earlier?
It's not a problem. We all make mistakes. Distinguished chief guest of honor of this auspicious occasion, Honorable Sidi Yai, chair of this occasion, respected senior citizens here present, venerable religious leaders, students, teachers and lecturers here present, members of the press, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all most respectfully. Assalamu alaikum to you all. Good evening to you all. I am indeed highly delighted to witness yet another book launch, a twin launch this time around, authored by a female Gambian youth, and welcome the opportunity she has given me to add my voice to a very critical topic, that is amplifying the voices of women and girls. This is a very critical area, and the men are so many here. That means they accept that this is an issue, and Raki has not, dilly-dally with the whole issue. She has come out plain. This is reality, and let's face it, and maybe the men can help us solve some of these problems that are happening to our women. I want to start by making a very categorical statement, and that is, there is every need, now than ever before, to amplify the voices of women and girls in our society. This is because the voices of women and girls have for long been silenced, or in some instances simply ignored. As we all know, it's been said over and over by previous speakers, women are denied their rights, are not given a space to express their views on issues affecting their well-being. This, unfortunately, has become a worldwide occurrence. As a matter of fact, women in societies considered as more advanced do suffer various forms of discrimination and human rights violations as their counterparts in Africa. For example, let me start to tell you that up to the turn of the 20th century, women in the Western world were not allowed to engage in political activities, and their voting rights were limited. This is a fact. They were excluded from all decision-making fora. Even in this contemporary era, there exists a gender pay gap across developing countries like Australia, Belgium, Czech Republic, Italy, Sweden, among others. In some of these countries, women receive up to 60% less than their male counterparts for the same job. In a bid to amplify their voices, women in developed countries have for long been forming activist groups calling for recognition and advancement of their rights. Key among such groups is the New York Radical Women and the National Organization for Women Now. It was only in 1994 that they succeeded in the promulgation of the Inter-American Convention on the Prevention, Punishment, and Eradication of Violence Against Women. Just 1994. Through active campaign and awareness-raising conferences, they gained massive support, both at local and international levels, from women who were confronted with similar gender inequalities in their societies. In the United Kingdom, a very powerful group, the Women's Social and Political Union, was formed in 1903, and it later became a national movement. Some of its members were imprisoned in the process of fighting for the rights of women. They, however, ensured women in the UK gained the rights to vote through Acts of Parliament in 1918 and 1928. Coming to Africa. In Africa, where majority of enslaved people were women, it's sad to say, they had to grapple with the status quo even after the abolition of slave trade in the 19th century. Abolition of slavery did not equate to freedom for the African woman. Since colonial merchants and officials collaborated with local male elites to continue undercover trade in women slaves. During the colonial era, women were engaged in forced labor, in plantations and homes, and their lives, labor, and bodies were controlled by the authority of former slave holders. It took a long and painful fight for women in Africa to be emancipated from slavery and other forms of violence. However, their role as farmers continue in most parts of the continent, and their rights to education is still restricted. One good news that African women should celebrate is that through support from UN agencies and non-governmental organizations, they are now beginning to gain economic independence from their labor. Unfortunately, however, even as producers of most of the food crops consumed locally, women are not allowed to own land. They suffer prejudicial treatment and are marginalized, both in their homes, where most of them are the breadwinners, as well as at community and state levels, where policies affecting development are implemented. Acts of gender-based violence against women continue, even though there are now laws that criminalize these acts. There are top positions in the public sector that are still being considered. Women occupy very few seats in the National Assembly and other decision-making platforms, and could hardly air their voices on issues affecting their well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, demographic researches and census have shown that women account for up to 60% of populations around the world. When this group of people are not given a chance to take part in the decision-making process of their societies, it is bound to impact negatively on the development agenda of countries. Planning only for few in society, while the majority at the grassroots are neglected, does not augur well for good governance. As we speak, the narrative is changing gradually, but more collaborative effort is needed to facilitate a complete change for the better. Meanwhile, women and girls in the likes of Raki and other authors, and especially the teachers, women teachers, must continue to demonstrate resilience and effectively utilize the limited space provided for us until such a time that we are able to gain more grounds through our positive impacts in society. There are enough proofs attesting to the fact that women are a force to reckon with within our societies and are worthy of positions we are aspiring to attain. There is no gainsay in the fact that unless and until women unite with one voice to fight against the many obstacles on the path of our progress, we may not succeed in regaining our rightful position in society. However, with the right mindset and determination, the sky will be our starting point. The sky is going to be our starting point. Okay? In order to achieve our sustainable development goals, young girls must have equal access to education as boys and a level playing ground to enable us participate in political and socio-economic development in our society. The Gambia. In our society, in our country, the Gambia. So remember, as teachers, you know that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. On this note, I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. I can't be more elated to share a platform with such individuals who have traveled the world over, have read a lot, and gathered a lot of experience as well. We are very much proud that you've wasted your time to come here and spend this moment with us and share your experiences with us. And thank you very much for giving us the historical perspective of the struggle of women for emancipation. This country is on the right footing. With people like you who have inspired young women and young girls, I believe those whom you have inspired, like Raki and others, will not let you down. And we are very much pleased to have you here. Thank you very much. I hope you won't complain that I've bored you with speeches. Thank you for understanding. Well, this one also will be a speech. A speech represented by an individual well known to us. He has been a very important member of this nation, has played a crucial role during the beautiful moments and the trying moments of this country. Well known as honorable, because now I understand Fullers can be honorable. Oh hell, this nation. He hailed from a village called Nyanija. I knew him through a friend, Mr. Esabari, who spoke to me well about how humble and individual this man has been. He has contributed immensely to the development of this nation and served as at various positions in this country and rose to the ranks of minister in this country. But currently, he is serving as the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia. Through his generosity, he has helped a lot of people in this country, especially youth from his constituency, Nyanija. He's also helping in the rebuilding of the school that is found in his district. He's a very passionate individual who, when they call to the development of anything that involves the young people, he is always not left behind. But anyway, one thing he has done the best is not letting us down, because foolers are always there to support each other. We knew that, but always bear in mind that we are the fathers, the Jolas. Mr. Judge, I'm right. Thank you very much. On that note, Mr. Sidinjai, Honorable Sidinjai, I have the singular honor of the Master of the House. All right, the podium is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, for, of course, being the Commander-in-Chief this evening, commanding all of us to come and answer to your directive. Our dear sister and author, Ms. Raki Jallow, her mother and family members, I want to thank you sincerely for this distinguished honor. Regional Director, Region 1, I guess. Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jaju, the General Manager of the Gambia Teachers Union, Credit Union, Uncle Michael Hamadi Seka, Auntie Ramatulai Utsman, my dear friend, of course, I'm not sure whether I will say childhood friend or what, Rachel Njai. I've always known her to be very passionate when she was very young, and she has been very committed to service. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, today we gather in the luminous realm of intellectual discourse, where the power of language transcends the mundane and propels us into the profound. I am overwhelmingly honored to stand before this August Assembly on the occasion of Ms. Raki Jallow's book launch, an event of unparalleled significance in the intellectual tapestry of our time. We are not mere witnesses to the launch of two books. We are participants in a grand symphony of thought, orchestrated by Ms. Jallow. Maya Angelou, an iconic woman of letters, once eloquently stated, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." The titles, "Because I'm a Woman," "A Bright Light Switch Off," are not arbitrary lexical choices, but deliberate poetic encapsulations of the themes that unfold within their pages. Themes that chronicle the sufferings, resilience, and triumph of a woman. History teaches us that in the realm of intellectual discourse, women have played incredible roles in shaping opinions, sparking revolutions, and challenging the status quo through their written words. Today, we are not only celebrating the literary prowess of Ms. Jallow, but also by extension acknowledging the broader significance of women's voices in literature. All across history, writers have been architects of change, sculptors of narratives that transcend time, echoing the triumphs and tribulations of their gender. Thus, the power of the pen wielded by women has the capacity to dismantle stereotypes, challenge systems, injustices, and pave way for a more equitable future. The book, A Bright Light Switch Off, casts a stark and unyielding light upon the pernicious effect of early marriage, tearing through the fabric of complacency that often shrouds these societal ills. Ms. Jallow, with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, dissects the consequences of this regressive practice, challenging each of us to confront the unforgettable truths that lie beneath the surface of our collective consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, in Because I'm a Woman, we find ourselves immersed in a novel of unparalleled depth, a chronicle that lays bare the intricacies of the female experience within the confines of a marriage and society. This opus is not merely a literary endeavor, it is a manifesto, a clarion call to dismantle the walls of silence that have for too long stifled the voices of women. Ms. Jallow's motivation to embark on this literary odyssey stems from an unwavering belief that in the articulations of these silence stories lies the potential for transformative solutions. As we stand on the precipice of literature enlightenment, let us recognize the moment not merely as a ceremonial launch, but as a call for intellectual arms. These books are not artifacts for passive perusals. They are instruments of change, urging us to interrogate the nuanced intricacies of gender dynamics, societal constructs, and the systemic inequalities that have lingered in our blind spots. In the hallowed corridors of academia, where the pursuit of knowledge is revered, let us not merely skim the surface, but dive into the depth of Ms. Jallow's literary offerings afford. These works, beyond their literary heroism, are poised to transcend into agents of transformation, inviting us to dismantle the citadels of ignorance, prejudice, and gender-based injustices. As a parliamentarian and legislator, I want to use this opportunity to invite all of us to stand on the stage of global and domestic commitments to ending violence against women. The United Nations, through the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, articulates the necessity of eradicating violence directed at women. Locally, the government of the Gambia, in alignment with international standards, has championed the cause through legislation such as the Women's Act in 2010, underscoring a commitment to creating a society where women are free from all forms of violence and discrimination. Distinguished guests, therefore, as a mark of respect to this auspicious event, let us reflect on these international and domestic frameworks, recognizing that the fight against gender-based injustices and extremism is not only a moral imperative, but a legal one with national commitments. In conclusion, let us extend our profound gratitude to Ms. Raki Jallow, not merely for her literary brilliance, but for her audacity to confront shadows, to amplify voices in the corridors of silence. Let us celebrate the power of the written word as a transformative force, encouraging every woman to find her voice, tell her story, and contribute to the collective narrative of humanity. For it is only through women's equal and active participation in writing along with men that we all can contribute to the evolution of a just thought, dismantling the structures of injustice and creating a world where the narratives of women in particular are celebrated, heard, and respected. On that note, personally, I want to pledge 20 copies each, 20 from each of the books as personal contribution to your work and to reciprocate this gesture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Jai, Sirin Jai. I knew you wouldn't disappoint. And you've done justice to what is given to you. Raki, all the speakers, while saying one thing, encouraging you and the women folk to stand up to your rights. If you can listen to all of them, you can conclude that that is where all of them are driving at. Let this not stop you. The one after I grow older, I would say to my children, this is the 11th book that she has written. Inshallah. Thank you. We wouldn't go if a family member does not speak on how Raki is able to break the structures of the society to become who she is today. We might have said everything, but everything that I say is what I know from her some 6-7 years ago. But we want to hear from individuals who have been with her since the day she was born. Therefore, this speech is going to be audiovisual. The brother who lives in Germany, if I get it right, said he is going to say something. And nobody else would say something apart from him. So Raki, according to her, she could not do anything else but give him the platform. So please, technician.
Ladies and gentlemen, guest speakers, family and friends, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and all those that are present here today, Assalamu alaikum to you all. My name is Madam Raki Jallow. I am Raki's youngest brother, and I am the youngest in the family. I would like to say thank you to all of you for coming, and thank you for celebrating Raki's remarkable achievement with us. May God bless you all. We are all brought up together, having both of our parents and teachers. Unfortunately, today our late father is not with us. May his soul continue to rest in peace. But our dear mother is present. I know she's listening to me. I remember not getting along with Raki when we were younger, because she was always with books, even in the kitchen, and she was like taking ownership of all the books in the house, which I wasn't happy about, and so we do not get along all the time, because we were introduced to books at a very early age. And believe me, Raki took advantage of this very well, because this is the reason why we are all gathered here today to witness her book launch, launching 2 of her books on the same day. And inshallah, I know we are all going to gather here again and again and again, maybe in a different hall, in a bigger hall, or maybe in a different environment, inshallah. Maybe the next could be Adala Karaba Jawara's conference hall. I know we're going to gather again. I'm just praying for her and for our good health, well-being, and long life to witness yet another, inshallah. And on that note, I would just like to say, on behalf of the entire family, we are immensely proud of her, and we are praying for her success in all her future endeavors. We are saying to her, the sky is the limit. And to all of you, on behalf of the entire family, thank you for coming. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. May God bless you all. We are grateful, and I would end by saying thank you in all the languages I know so far. Gracias, merci, shukran, grazie mille, vielen Dank und Dankeschön. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, Father Najara, man. I know. Well, Madam Raki's mother, I believe some of us young men and ladies should come to you for lectures on how well you raised these children. We are very much proud that you are able to raise these intelligent children who, at least in one way or the other, did not disappoint you. And they are doing very well to continue making you prouder. And I'm sure Daddy would be happy too. He is not here, but our hearts and souls are with him. May his soul continue to rest in peace. The time has come. The time has come when the light will not switch off, but will switch it on. That light is that individual who is the reason why all of us are gathered today. We cannot leave this hall without giving her the platform to speak to us, thank us, and also tell us how she is able to do this, a mother of 3. You've made your teachers prouder. You've made your parents prouder. Anybody who is associated with you today is very much happy of your achievement. Your co-workers have spoken. I knew you not long ago, but I know how a determined individual you are. Speakers have spoken. Even those who have not spoken, who might one way or the other had an association with you, can bear witness that you are a lady of substance and character. And here you are. This is the 3rd one. Your brother has said it all. A lot is expected. Next 2 years again, I hope we will gather at a bigger hall. And please, ladies and gentlemen, to honor what she has done and what she is doing to contribute to the literature of this country, I would love you to stand up and give her a round of applause while she takes to the podium. Raki, you are welcome. Don't cry, your children are around, right?
These two? Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It is with great pleasure and honor that I stand before you all. I stand here with mixed feelings because I see only familiar faces. People that love me and they're doing it genuinely. I appreciate all of you. It so happens that whenever I tell people that I'm launching books, people will question how I do it. Like, because they know things that maybe some might not know. Like, I wouldn't want to disclose everything, but I will say some. But I will start my thank you with my family. I'm very, very emotional at the moment. Yes, I'm very, very emotional. I stand here and it's like I just want to keep quiet without saying anything. Yeah. I'm grateful. I'll be forever grateful to my dad, who introduced me to books at a very early age. And everybody that knows me knows that. He was the first person that introduced me to books that I was exploiting like I was. Sometimes he will stop me and tell me, hey, little boogie hale. He would tell me, yo book bingari ni baham galan la. May his soul rest in peace. I wouldn't be grateful if I don't for making sure that I am who I am today. My mom made sure we are what we are today, all of us. Like, she raised 9 children. All of us up to the chart. It's the chart that you saw on the screen. He's pursuing his master's degree in Germany. He made sure that we are all okay. She made sure that we are all okay, rather. I would call her he. I think she deserves a he. Clap for her. She's a he and she. Both in one person. Yes. She made sure that we were all okay. Our needs were all met. Especially our education. She was going extra miles to make sure that we had the best education. Whatever school you choose, Yase Njai will make sure you go there.
no matter how expensive it is, no matter how tough it becomes. I was commuting from Banyulunding to Banjul, St. Joseph Senior Secondary School. By the way, I would like to acknowledge that my former sister, my principal, was around, Sister Jara. She was that one person that was always threatening me, that I used to bring my belt down. You know, I was that junkie student, always bringing my belt down. Like, but we grew that bond. She made sure I was always corrected, because thanks to her also, I did not go to the other end, because she was always making sure I was dressed properly. And anytime she cuts my belts, my mom will make sure she replaces the belt, because the belt will be split in the middle. So she will always be buying me belts all the time. So these are things that I like recounting. But I made sure I also put determination to my education. With all odds, like I put in the Salimata, a girl child struggles in school. So Salimata depicts the struggles of a girl child. I struggled with my schooling, you know, societal problems, but Alhamdulillah, I made sure I was doing what I was supposed to do. I did my schooling to the utmost best. And I went to the college where I met the likes of Mr. Lamin Jaju, that instilled this kind of knowledge that I have today, that I can boastfully and proudly talk about. Mr. Jaju was my English lecturer. He made sure I was what I am today. He made sure that I did stuff that I will be proud to stand today to talk about. So, Mr. Jaju, a big thank you to you. Before going any further, Mr. Sidinjai, he's our brother, the Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you for coming. Your coming means a lot to me. When I was doing my selection for, how to call it, the guest speakers, I communicated to Esa. Esa is a dear brother. Esa Barry is a dear brother. He was the one that did MC. He was the MC for the launching of Salimata. He was the one that told me, take Mr. Sirinjai as your chief guest of honor. I told him, I hope he will come. That was I will have to say this, because it was a backbite. I backbited him. I would like to say I'm sorry. I told Esa he will not come. Don't disturb me. He says, Mane, defo farek dina ñew. Small brother, small while. I told him, no. I'm not putting anybody as my chief guest of honor that will not show up. And Mr. Sirinjai showed up. Clap for him. Because I was thinking he was not even going to come. Like, considering the busy schedule that they have and all this going and coming that they're doing, the time I was selecting him, he was even in the air. Yes. So I thought he was not going to come, but Alhamdulillah, he came, and we have to thank him for that, for coming to our level to come. Yes. I want to name everybody, but you know I cannot do that. But I would say I have this family that I found myself in now. I'll have to invite him to the podium to say something. I'll do that personally. I don't need the MC to do that for me. Mr. Andrew Gomez is one father figure, one uncle figure, one brother figure that I know for certain I wouldn't be grateful if I don't thank him enough for accommodating me. I found myself in so many families, not only my biological family. I passed through a lot of places. I got family way back in primary school. I passed through a lot of primary schools for your information. I did Bakindik Primary School in 1994. That's where I was enrolled. I'll name them all. You'll excuse me. I did Bakindik Primary School, part of my primary schooling. I did Jara Burenglo Basic School, that also primary school. Yes, I was a bago, carry go. I was a bag, they were carrying me about. Anywhere my parents go, I would just be carried along with them. So I found myself in 3 different primary schools only to finish primary school, 3 different primary schools. When I finished Jara Bureng, I did grade 5 there. We came down to Farabalo Basic. There also, my dad was transferred. I had to come as a back. So I did my primary school in grade 6 common entrance there, and I was I enrolled in Alpha Khan Upper Basic. We call it Birkam Upper Basic now, commonly known as Alpha Khan. He is no longer there, but the name stayed. I did Alpha Khan. From Alpha Khan, I went to St. Joseph's Senior Secondary. That's where I did my high school. After high school, I transitioned to the college, as I said, in the hands of Mr. Jaju. From the college, I transitioned to the University of the Gambia.
By the way, Raki, your kids are here. Mommy, can you stand up, please?
My child.
Yes. Mommy and BJ.
Mommy and BJ.
You know, I could not.
This is a family bond. They don't know this. This is beyond us.
Definitely when I said.
When I was at the college, I would like to say this. When I was at the college, I stayed in the dormitory. Mr. Jaji was the resident tutor. I stayed in the dormitory, and Mommy was always sleeping in my bed. His daughter, Mommy, Fatmata. Mommy was very close to me. We used to even wear the same color of clothes anytime we are together. So Mommy has become a big girl now. I know she's looking up to me as an inspiration. As I looked up to her dad as an inspiration. So it's a big pride for me, for Mommy to be here today to see where I've come, thanks to her dad. After the UTG, aside from the UTG, I would say, not after the UTG, aside from the UTG, I have other families as well. I met other families. That is the schools that I've been through. I've been in Charles Jau. I've been to Latikunda Upper Basic, and I've been to Kunkujankete Upper Basic. These also are my family. So that's why I said everybody's family are here, because it's my family that is gathered here. So now I landed in a bigger family, that is Mopsy. Here I found a boss that's very accommodative. He's our general boss, but my immediate boss, I would call her more accommodative. Yeah, she said we met and we clicked, like we share a lot. We chat a lot, like we are sitting like this. My table is here, her table is here. We're always chatting, we're always talking. And it's like all my likes are her likes, all my dislikes are her dislikes. So you understand how that coordination will go. She's one great boss that stoops so low to be my level so that I can express my thoughts with her, exchange my ideas with her. She doesn't look at me like a genius. Rachel Jai doesn't look at me as a subordinate. She looks at me as a mate. Like we came together in the office. And she's far older than me, far vast in knowledge than me, far well experienced than me in knowledge as well. But with all that, she puts all that aside to be my level so that I can communicate and relate to her even more. Yeah. And Tita, I would say a big thank you to you too, because with open arms, you embraced me. Like, I did not know you personally. I was just scribbling around, shouting out for people to put in my book launch as a chief launcher. My Salimata was launched by Madam Aisatundao. This time around, I could not go back to her because she would tell me, am I the only person around? I know, madam. Because even when I went there, she said, I hope you chose somebody else. When I went to meet her in her office, she said, Babi, you're not my chief launcher. I told her, no, this time around it's Auntie Tida. I said, Tida, that's good, I'll be there. But maybe something caught up with her and she could not make it here. But Auntie Tida is one person that I used to just see around, and I admired her spirit, I admired her composure, and I admired her energy. Like, she's one woman to look up to as a woman. If you are to talk about women, she's an example of a woman. So when I spoke to Rachel at our corner, about Auntie Tida, Rachel told me, yes. But the Andrew, boss to boss. When I have go boss and boss, direct, no deal. So I humbly went to Andrew and told him about my intentions. Andrew held my hand and took me to Auntie Tida's office. Introduced me to Auntie Tida and told her what we were about to do. And Auntie Tida did not even hesitate to take it up. She said, I don't have a problem with it. I will take it up. Like, that is something that I will be forever grateful for, Auntie Tita. Thank you. I will not finish by my speech without thanking my boy. I call him my boy. Do you know who my boy is? Retired but not tired. Michael. I call him Mike, and he never gets offended. No matter how old he is, no matter how young you are, no matter what approach you take with Mike, Mike is always Mike. Yes, he's people's Mike. Like, Mike is always in support of what I do. From Salimata to a bright light switch off to because I'm a woman. He's the reviewer. He will do everything, and he will make sure I do everything accordingly. And he'll be even following up with me, to follow up on me to make sure that everything is in place. Even last night, he'll be calling me. Like, he's that person. He's that father figure in my life. Ibu's wife, I will not forget her name, and I will not forget mentioning her, Aji, Dr. Ata Sise. She's one supportive person as well in my life, always in support of what I do. To Modu Jallow, he's around here. I think he's here. Ali Jallow, he's also around. Ali and the wife, Aji. Aisatu is the first daughter of my mom, Aisatu Jallow. Her husband is also present, Mr. Commissioner Silla. I acknowledge your presence. Nabu Ngone, may her soul rest in peace. She would have been proud of me because she was one person that was always passionate of learning as well. The little I know of her, she was the excellent kid of my mom. She was the most brilliant. But she's late. Ajumi is the one that I am next to. She's the one that is next to me. I am after Nabu, by the way. Ajumi, and then the chat. The chat is the one that you saw on the screen. I wouldn't forget my kids, my dear kids. They are my spirit and they are my inspiration. Whatever I do for them. Like, I cannot complete also without acknowledging the presence of my dear sister, Aisha. Aisha, thank you. Before I call Andu here to talk, I would have to acknowledge the support and the help of my dear committee. My committee members, can you please stand up? My sisters and my brothers. I see you all. Sister Fasham, I see you too. I cannot name everybody. Sister Fatima, Mr. Juve, Mr. Diva. I want to name everybody, you know, because I know everybody. I want to name everybody. Ramle, Ramatullah Ifal, I love the dress. She gave me this dress. I'll boast about that too. You know, my friends are always in support of what I do. Like, when my days come, they just jump and they run helter-skelter to make sure it is okay. Like, they wouldn't even let me buy something. I cannot finish without saying a big, giant thank you to before I give the mic to, I hope I don't leave anybody out. Mr. Esaso, did I call you? I'm jumping in because he's right in front of me. Sekuba, I see you. Omar, Ogis, I see you all, yeah? Who is that? Madun, why are you hiding your face? I'm said,